Welcome to Cutting into Cybersecurity. It is Brandon Krieger and Joel Bork back on this week's edition of the CISSP study group. Guys, we are so excited to have you here with us today. Brandon, what's going on? How's your day been?
It's actually been busy. I mean, as you guys all know, it's Easter weekend coming up. So I think everyone's like kind of like last minute, before the weekend, I need to get this done. So I had a lot of great meetings today. Lots going on. What about yourself, Joel? How are you?
It was a crazy day. I actually did a live stream for work earlier, and it was really cool. We got to get into the Microsoft Exchange vulnerabilities. And then we got to talk about ProDaft, the ProDaft report. Did you hear about this, Brandon?
No, I didn't.
Can I give you a little kind of sneak peek? Just 30 seconds? Cool. Yep. Well, let me share with you what ProDaft means real quick. So ProDaft, it stands for this. It stands for Proactive Defense Against Future Threats. Okay. And it's actually a Swiss organization that was sanctioned by the Swiss government to hack back.
Nice. Okay.
Guess who they hacked? They went after
Russians.
Yeah, they went after the SolarWinds guys. And guess what they found? Well, they hacked into their C2 server, and they basically found a tiered structure and a tiered organization that looked a little bit like this. And they call it the Silverfish organization. But here's basically what it looked like. Let me see if I could pull it up real quick for you. Oh, that's why I got to double click it. But check this out. This is the hacking group. I mean, when we talk about advanced nation state actors, this is no small operation. There's an administrator. They had team leads. They had teams. Team 301, 302, 303, 304, and check out what they were able to do. So in their command and control server, they were able to actually assign different targets to different teams. Check this out. So you got team 303, team 302. Those are the targets you can save. And let me show you what they were actually doing on them real quick. And I know I'm flipping around quick, guys, but I'd love to see your insights into this if you've read the ProDaft report yet. But check out this screen real quick. These are their list of targets. You can see the phase they're in. But look at the green. The green says it's got full screen iframe. So you can basically pull up a full screen on that device. You got either root or unprivileged access. But you can see the country it's in. You can see the notes and which hacker has kind of claimed it and put notes on it. But that is the first insight I've ever seen to a nation state command and control server. And they use like a Jira-like format to run their operation.
Wow.
So what do you guys think as audience members? Switzerland is hacking back. Does that put a target on their head? And should the U.S. allow their organizations to do it? The consensus on the live stream today was no, the U.S. should not. It could be considered an act of war if somebody like Northrop or Booz starts hacking back.
Well, okay, so let's talk about this because I worked physical security. I just got a question for you.
You got 15 seconds because we could talk an hour on this, and maybe we should. But
maybe we should. We'll let the guys figure this out. So if you have a link, send it to Net Fraser.
Let me get it
in Discord. Yeah, because they wanted to check that out. So let me ask you this. Because of right now the vulnerabilities and the potential for compromise in the telecommunication, the financial industry. I mean, when you're talking about cyber warfare, right? If they start hacking back, how quickly are we going to go into a cyber war? Like, I know we're having nation states going back and forth already in the back end right now, but I mean, them saying, all right, you think that? Guess what? We're going to take down the CN Tower for you. Yeah, then goes your mass communication for Toronto, right?
And they'd be trying to harm people would be the problem. Right now, they're for information, for money, right? But as soon as it becomes cyber war, and you'll have to go back and watch the episode of the April Cyber Look Back. There was some really good insights. I played devil's advocate because I said, well, we're kind of already at war. We're just getting hammered and we're not hitting back. Like, what do we do? Anyways, check it out. IronNet's April Cyber Look Back. So, Brandon, let's jump into content, though. I actually put the link in the chat already. So if you see it, there's a ProDaft report for the Silverfish TLP White. Just read it after this. Fair enough?
Yeah, send it to me as well because I want to check it out.
Oh, yeah, you got it pasted right here. Yeah. Boom. Really cool article. Really cool read. But yeah, no, this was not an April Fool's joke. Tanny, man, this was actually happened. There's the report. It was released last week, so before April Fool's Day. Shoot, we didn't prepare an April Fool's Day joke.
No, we didn't. We didn't. Not at all. No, not at all.
This is not an April Fool's joke, but you may think it is. The reason why I'm wearing a Superman shirt, my wife bought it for me after I actually passed an exam, because she read something in an article that said, before your exam, here's the secret to passing it. Doesn't matter what the exam is. Do you guys want to hear it?
Yeah.
If you guys want to hear it, put in the chat that you want to hear it, and I'll tell you my secret. The secret is, before you walk into the exam, for 30 seconds, you have to promise yourself you're going to do this. Doesn't matter who's around. It doesn't matter. You stand like a superhero for 30 seconds. And
That's
then you
awesome.
laugh at yourself, and you walk into that room with confidence, a breath of fresh air, a little bit of humor, and you go and you crush your exam. So after I passed that exam, she bought me the shirt. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
You guys to do the same.
That's awesome. I want to see, and now I want to see people do selfies of that. I actually want to see them standing like there in a Superman pose, hand on the waist, hand in the air, taking a selfie, just kind of stand there straight up.
Do it. If you guys have that, I will share it all over my LinkedIn feed and give you massive props. Say, going into my Security Plus exam, my CISSP, standing like a superhero for Joel. Tag me and Brandon. I want to hear it.
Yeah, for sure. I want to see that.
Now, Brandon, did you want to tell me your Superman shirt story on the stream or later?
Okay, we'll tell it just quickly right now. So what happened was I've had this for years. I mean, like all you guys are Marvel and DC comic here, fans. I got mine. I was walking on the street. It was last year in the summer, and I was walking down in my neighborhood, and this little boy, such a sweet little kid, turns to me, and he's wearing a Superman shirt, and he goes, "Superman, Superman!" And I'm like, and he's just yelling it out loud. The parents are like, "What's going on? Like, what's happening?" He goes, "Superman! He's got a Superman shirt."
You'd think you robbed somebody, right?
But it was just so funny. But he was just so excited about it, right? That someone else had the same shirt as him, right? And then I went over and talked to him for a little bit. He's like, but he never said like Superman shirt. He just said Superman, like I was Superman. And my wife was laughing at me. She was kind of like laughing that the little boy thought you were Superman. And I was like, well, that's kind of funny, right?
I do look like it, right? No, I'm just.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I've been working out, right?
Now I do have to ask, because you told me you were going to watch this, and Sean brought it up in the chat. But did you watch the Snyder Cut?
Yeah, 4 hours.
Jeez, was it awesome?
Yeah. So, not gonna give too much spoilers, but the depth of the characters and the origin stories were a lot better.
Cool.
Right. And then I think the start of the movie was a lot better how it led in, where the original one, right, it was kind of like a video log demographic, like a, what am I trying to say? Like it's like a video log of kids filming Superman. And it was kind of cheesy, all that, but this one was actually the storyline brought out, and you're like, don't get me wrong, I need to pause it, bio break, come back, grab some snacks, but it was 4 hours long.
Wow, cool. Check it out. I'll check it out.
Easter weekend, go for it.
I don't know about it this weekend, but all right, guys. So we got to jump into this content. We got a lot of good stuff for you. Remember, we're going to do 4 or 5 questions real quick using the exam topics, which is a certified not cheating website, according to them and many other sources. So we're going to use this website. And then I have a question that's not in this exam topics that will be winning. The person who can answer the question the fastest in chat will be winning a $25 gift card. So, Brandon, are you ready?
So hold on. So the question, pass that over to me as well. We'll have to get the answer to the guys in the moderator so they can catch that.
Let me type it to him real quick. Boom, sent to him. All right, let's jump in though. Let me share my screen. Separate that. Awesome. I hope you guys are ready for this. I want to see you guys taking your best guess on these as we go through them. It's important you try so you can learn this content and how to take this exam. So when it comes, you're just ready. And I'm going to be honest, like even if these questions, or you're taking a Security Plus or something else, like just practicing exam taking with basic knowledge, this is basic networking knowledge. It's going to help you no matter what exam you take. So
exactly right, and just it's get in the practice of looking at the questions and breaking them down.
Yeah, it's funny. Sean said Vivek always says C, and he says he always go with A. Anyways, let's jump in. So when referring to the data structures of a packet, the term protocol data unit, or PDU, is used. What is the proper term to refer to a single unit of TCP data at the transport layer? A, a TCP segment, B, a TCP datagram, C, a TCP frame, or D, a TCP packet? Brandon?
So right now, looking at it, they're saying, okay, what's the structure of the packet? That's good. We should share it as well, right? There we go.
Might help a little.
That would help. So we're looking at when referring to the data structure of the packet, the terms protocol data unit. So I'm looking at right now, a TCP/IP segment. I think that one might be a TCP/IP packet. I don't think so. I think that's at the application layer, and then you got the frame and datagram. I don't think it's the datagram. I don't think it's the frame. I'd probably go with the TCP segment.
TCP segment is correct. So remember, in the OSI model layer 4, it's your transport layer. In the TCP/IP model, the application layer data is encapsulated in a layer 4 TCP segment. The TCP segment is encapsulated in a layer 3 IP packet, and the data, segments, and packets are examples of PDUs. So great job, Brandon. So I don't know if Big B gets it right often, and I don't know if you guys know this, but dude, his process of elimination is out of this world. Like, I was getting stuff wrong. And he goes, Joel, you should know this, but just the way you can systematically cut stuff up, dude, it's unreal. So let's go ahead and jump in. Question number 3. How do you distinguish between a bridge and a router? A bridge simply connects multiple networks. A router examines each packet to determine which network to forward it to. B, bridge and router are synonyms for equipment used to join two networks. C, the bridge is a specific type of router used to connect the LAN to the global internet. Or D, the bridge connects multiple networks to the data link layer, while a router connects multiple networks at the network layer. Brandon?
So yeah, I'm looking at that right now. I'm looking at B. A bridge and a router are synonyms for equipment used to join two networks. I'd say no, that's incorrect. They're not. C, the bridge is a specific type of router and used to connect a LAN to the global internet. No, that's incorrect. So I'm looking at A and D right now as I'm breaking this down. The bridge is simple, connect multiple networks, or the bridge connects multiple networks at the data link layer. I'm gonna go with D because it's at the data link layer, right? From what we were reading yesterday.
Boom, well done. It is D.
On Tuesday.
So remember, a bridge is going to connect things at the data link layer, right? And then the router, it is definitely a network layer device. And the only other device that is going to sit at this network layer would be a layer 3 switch. So bridges are a data link layer, while that is at the network layer. So absolutely spot on. Great job, guys. And it looks like that one threw a bunch of people off, right? Because this is easy. A bridge simply connects multiple networks. Yeah, but how? Right? So down here, the answer D says multiple networks at the data link layer. That was the right answer. While a router does look at packets to determine which network to forward it to, it does it at the network layer, right? So good stuff. All right, let's jump in. Question number 4. Ooh, this is a good one. ICMP and IGMP belong to which layer of the OSI model? Brandon?
Well, it's not the data link layer, right? It's not the datagram layer, right? You're looking at the transport layer, the network layer. That's how it break them down. And then because it's ICMP and IGMP and network traffic, I'd go network layer.
Network layer?
Yeah.
Final answer?
Final answer B, network layer.
How'd everybody do? Looks like we got some A's, B's, C's on this one. It is B. So IGMP, ICMP definitely happen at the network layer, right? So if you use an ICMP and you ping something, guess what happens? It's using IP, right? It is coming back at that network layer. Yeah, and it didn't give me a lot of details in here, but there you go. Yep, they don't belong to the transport layer. ARP, OSOF, and MAC are examples of protocols working at that layer. Transport layer, that's TCP, UDP, and then there is no datagram layer. So great job. And last question of the day before we get into our gift card question. I said, what is the limitation of TCP wrappers? And not rappers like Eminem or Tupac.
You had to bring that up?
I did. TCP wrappers in the house. That's my new CTF name if I ever do it. So anyway, A, it cannot control access to running UDP services. B, it stops packets before they reach the application layer, thus confusing some proxy servers. C, the host's star access control systems requires a complicated directory tree, or they are too expensive.
Which is the limitation for TCP wrappers? Well, I don't think there's any expense according to it. So I would say eliminate D. The host star access, so all access and control system requires a complicated directory. I don't think there's any directory structure to it. So I'm starting to limit down to A and B, and it stops packets before they reach the application layer, thus confusing some proxy servers. What's a wrapper? My understanding of the wrapper, it's encapsulating. So I would go with A. It cannot control access to running UDP services.
Boom. Well done. And just walking through that in your head was fantastic, right? So you're right. TCP wrappers, and once again, not M&M, will allow you to restrict access to TCP services, but not to UDP services. So that would be a limitation. 100%. Great job, Brandon. All right. How are you guys feeling about those? Because we actually were able to find that page, and that directly applies to the OSI models that we talked about last week or on Tuesday, and we're talking about again today. So how are you guys feeling about that?
Yeah. And then do you have this, the actual gift, Amazon gift? Was it the other one you'd use? The wings?
Buffalo Hot Wings. Yeah.
Buffalo Hot Wings. Do you have that question?
I got the question. So are you guys ready for your question? This is it. This is for $25. The first one with the correct answer in the chat wins a $25 gift card to either Amazon or Buffalo Wild Wings. You just have to reach out to Fraser, Net Fraser, in the chat on Discord afterwards. Let him know your email address and whether you want B-Dubs or Amazon. And here's
him or IT Junkie.
Him or IT Junkie. Here's the question. What protocol runs the internet? I'll repeat. What protocol runs the internet? First one with the answer in chat, $25 gift card on me in your inbox by tomorrow.
So now let's talk about this while people are answering this, right?
Yep.
So what happened was, as Joel was asking me, I went like, well, isn't it TCP? Right. And he's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, I have no clue. Right. I have no clue. So as he was going through this, we are actually, going back and forth before this, that's actually a pretty good question. I don't know how many people would know it.
Yeah. So what's really cool is like there were people jumping out of the gates on that. That makes me so excited. Looks like the winner is One Hero 95. So everybody give it up for him. He is the winner of today's competition. Congratulations on the win. The answer is BGP. And you can take a look, quick Google search, but BGP, it's the Border Gateway Protocol, and it's basically the postal service of the internet, right? And it runs the internet. It enables the internet to function. So the answer to that, if you have a question about protocols running the internet, Border Gateway Protocol is going to be your answer. So great job, One Hero. After the show, just hit up Fraser in Discord and or IT Junkie, right? Yep. Let him know Amazon or B-Dubs.
Yeah, and then your contact information as well.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I think you do use email, right?
Yeah, I need your email to shoot it on over to you. So,
awesome.
Right. So, Brandon, you ready to hop right into this? We got a lot of stuff to cover tonight.
Yeah, and then guys, let you know if you guys have any questions as we're going. I know we've got covering a lot of information, a lot of questions. Go message IT Junkie or just kind of put it in the chat right now. Any questions that you have, we're here to answer. We're to help you. I think on Joel and my behalf, everyone's been messaging us on LinkedIn. Thank you so much, and all your questions, and giving you guys back whatever you guys have and questions when it comes to career advice, anything like that. Bring them here to the stream, and we're here to answer. Neil and everyone is here to answer. And then Neil saying, yeah, or IT Junkie saying like, yeah, just put it in chat, put the questions in chat.
Cool. I like it.
Sounds
you
good?
ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, cool. So let's go ahead. Quick recap on what we are. Let me throw this in here. Got it. Throwing this up on screen. What we did last week, because it directly applies. We're going to be digging deeper into this week, and it's really important stuff. The 7 OSI layers. That's right. And I've bring a little zen to the conversation today. But
you're bringing the chakras, huh?
I'm bringing the chakra. So let's start at the top, because all people seem to need data processing, right? So the application layer protocols, HTTP, FTP, SMTP. This is your cosmic consciousness, your enlightenment layer. Okay, that's application layer. Next, presentation layer. This is MIME. This is XDR. And this is where you get intuition. This is where you get clairvoyance. And it's also where you get SQL injection. All right, next up is your session layer. This is where WinSock, NetBIOS, and this is where communication and creativity happen. Next is your transport layer. So you got TCP, UDP. That's so if you get, hey, what runs on transport layer? TCP, UDP, and that's for love, hope, and packet loss.
That's awesome.
I was laughing so hard at this. Good stuff. Next is network layer. So IPv6, IPv4 for energy and vitality. Then you have data link layer, and that's your frame relay, MAC, IEEE 802.x. And this is for emotions, intimacy, and packet storms.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
And then physical layer, last but not least, USB, Bluetooth, IEEE, EEE 802.x, and survival instinct and security. Physical security.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Where did you find that?
Dude, I'm Google meme search master. That's all you got to know. Okay. It's on there somewhere. It's on the interwebs.
That's awesome. I wonder how many people are now going to remember it just because it was so funny. It was the actual chakras. They're going to laugh when they see the OSI model.
You know what? I hope so. And so it was funny because, guys, last week, I don't know if you know this, but we kind of did a debrief and we're like, hey, what could we do better? And Brandon, you want to tell them the feedback we got?
Yeah, just more engagement, more actual memes, kind of things like that, to make it more fun for you guys, right? Because again,
the feedback, it was, we need to be funnier and more engaging. So
I'm being nicer to you. I mean, I get it.
Well, Brandon knows I'm not a funny person, so I appreciate your kindness. I appreciate it. But let's go ahead and talk about the OSI model and try to be funny with it. This is all I got. I mean, it's the OSI model, but the OSI model be more of a guideline than an actual set of rules. That's all I got.
That's awesome.
I mean, you laughed. I don't know if anybody else will, but I thought we laugh actually quite a lot throughout the show. I don't know about you.
We do. And, okay. And I think it was all in context, right?
Yeah, you're spot on. So, but remember, guys, OSI model, it's not perfect. And actually today we're going to talk about some of the reasons why it's not perfect and some things that don't actually fit into a certain layer and why that's the case. So, Brandon, do you mind kicking us off real quick? With the OSI model, there's 7 layers. There's more than 50 protocols. It's a lot to remember, right?
Right. It's, like you said, it seems daunting, right?
It really does. So like if we can keep it fun and lighthearted and teach you the information and help you remember this stuff, that's why we're here and we're learning together as we go, right? So will you jump us into physical layer 1 real quick?
Yeah. So the physical layer accepts the frame from the data link layer and then converts the frame into bits for transmission over the physical connection medium. The physical layer is also responsible for receiving bits from the physical connection medium and converting them into a frame to be used by a data link layer. Right? And then the physical layer contains the devices drivers that tell the protocol how to employ the hardware for the transmission and reception of bits located within. And I think you got an image for that.
Yeah, so let's talk about physical layer real quick and dig a little bit into it, right? So physical, you can see bits, includes but is not limited to cables, jacks, and hubs, right? And hubs are just literally forwarding the data. That's it, right? It uses protocols 100 base T and 1000 base X, uses hubs, patch panels, RJ45 jacks as devices. And what you got to worry about? Physical destruction, obstruction, manipulation, malfunction of physical assets. Also, what's your mean time to failure? What's your time to live, right, on these devices? You got to be aware of that and the risk it poses to your organization. And then you have to practice defense in depth, use those access controls, the physical security we talked about a couple weeks ago, and then audit and track your control of physical assets. So that's your physical layer in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
How'd that feel?
Good.
Are you feeling good on that?
On the physical layer, yeah. I mean, I'm going to have to go over it a few times just to kind of to memorize it. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? When you look at the physical layer and what it does.
Well, but here's the crazy part. Can I show you something funny?
Mm-hmm.
So you feel good on physical layer. And you know what they do with this on CISSP? They say, oh, by the way, these are all the protocols associated with it. Do you know what the EIA/TIA-232 and -449 are?
No, not even a clue. Huh? Do you?
No, I don't. But I know they're associated with the physical layer because right. I've spent a lot of time digging into them. So guys, a lot of this stuff, it's just flashcard worthy and exam fodder. Will you ever, actually, let's ask you guys. And I know, dude, Frazier and Neil are going to kill me, but have you guys seen these protocols before? X21, I'm kind of familiar with. Sonnet, I've seen before, right? Synchronous optical networking, if we're talking fiber optics, high-speed serial interface, V24 and V35. I've never even heard of V24, V35. Have you guys? So
I wonder if you work for the telecommunication company, I'm wondering if that'd be more common, acronyms and terminology you'd be using.
Quite possibly, because the physical layer, they're dealing with those hubs, right? And they're using these protocols. So absolutely, those are the people who use them, right?
So now this is the thing, like when you're looking at security, right? And let's kind of tie this back full circle. If you're looking at security and you're trying to breach the physical layer, it's good to know these, right? Especially if you're like, a lot of these guys are talking about pen testing, their pen testing career. So it's a lot of things to know, like here on the physical layer, if you're doing external pen testing and you're trying to breach the, the external environment.
Yep, absolutely. Now, real quick, when we're talking telecoms and standardization, there's something that you should know about this, right? And it's something for voice over IP, but they're talking about it in chat. He said he had a question around H323. Now, that's a standard for equipment and computers and services, but that's more around like VoIP and internet telephonics. So that's what H323 is. And it's not so much the physical layer, right? That's voice over IP standardization. So just throwing that out there for you guys. All right. So guys, a lot of these things like the Sonnet, the HSSI, the X21, some of the stuff you are going to have to just commit to memory, right? There's 50 protocols. You probably need to really kind of use those cheat sheets and understand which protocols go to which layer. But,
and make up something that's funny too. So just so you'll remember it, right? Yeah, like EDA, like EDA is an old protocol, kind of thing that as an old woman, right? She's 232 years old, something along that line. Her husband's 449 years old. Some that when you go in, you're going to go, oh my God, okay, I remember that, right? Just try to make it obscure, right?
Yeah, you're spot on. So what I really like using is I actually get like pictures like this, like back when I was taking my Net Plus Sec Plus, I'd have a picture like this and I would write the protocols down on it. And I would actually use that as a flashcard. So physical, repeaters, Ethernet cables, hubs, here are the different protocols that it uses. And I would just have 7, right? 1 for each layer, had the protocols written on it. So I could match the hardware being used with the protocols being used. And that just really helped solidify it for me on which protocols are used on which hardware.
Right. Perfect. Cool. And then we got a couple questions coming in right now. One is I think we got this a few times. We've got this last one, right? Is CCNA essential for cybersecurity career?
Maybe I didn't elaborate enough on that last time. What do you think?
I think the answer wasn't long enough. I think you said no. It's not essential. It's not essential.
I think the question was different as well. I think the question was CCNA for pen tester.
Right. Okay.
And I said no. Now, granted, if you're a pen tester and you compromise and get onto a network with Cisco devices, well, having some CCNA knowledge would definitely stink and help you. But I was talking to somebody and they said, hey, I work in cybersecurity down in Florida, and all of them are Cisco shops. Right. If that's the case, then yes, CCNA is something you want to get for your cybersecurity career because it'll probably help springboard you into one of your first cybersecurity jobs, right? So if you have a Sec Plus, CCNA, CEH, and you got a bunch of Cisco shops around, yeah, it's not going to hurt your cause, especially if that's going to be required of your daily duties, right? But if you're trying to get your first pen tester job, I'd be focusing on different things. So hope that helps.
So Vivek comes up with a question. It was about what, and I think he was answering your comment. It was about what protocol needs encryption. WRT, VoIP, H323 stood out.
Yep, and that's what we talked about, right? So H323 is for VoIP, right? So good stuff. And that's kind of standards, and right, why should it be encrypted? Exactly.
And then I think the last question so far, and you can keep the questions coming, guys. My question is, how bad is CEH, the Certified Ethical Hacker?
That is such a vague word. California 909. Let's get a little deeper into that. What do you mean by bad? And I'm happy to answer that for you. So
I think he's talking about the certification.
Well, I know, but how bad is it? Like, how difficult are the questions? How hard is it? How bad is it? like
I
you don't
think
have
it's
to do any
how
labs.
bad is it recognized? Is it one of those? Because you hear a lot in the chats and the forums that, oh my god, don't go for CH. It's the worst exam ever. Like it's terrible. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm off California 909, but I think he's talking, in that context
Okay.
versus like is how hard it is. I think it's in context of, is it really a bad exam to go for? It's a kind of a McDonald's exam.
So let me give you my argument why I would still recommend that certification. I think there's better ones. I think OSCP, I think Pen Test Plus, I think those are much better certifications. But I still recommend this. Hey, if you're new getting into the industry, and here's why. There's this thing called DoD 8570. And it was a thing the government came out with a while ago. And they said, hey, if you want to work in certain jobs, you have to have certain certification levels. If you want IAT, the T stands for technology. IAM is management, is the M. Look on the far right-hand side. If you want to get to level 3, this is the cert you're going to need. So for IAT level 1, it's Net Plus. For IAT level 2, it's Security Plus. For IAT level 3, you need a GSED, which I actually have, a CASP, or a CISSP. And that's for IAT technical level 3. So that's where CISSP's kind of gotten a bad name, because it's like, in order to get really technical, I have to get a CISSP, and the CISSP isn't going technical, right? It's going into all of the domains functionally and how it impacts cybersecurity. But if you look down at the bottom, you're going to see a few things. You're going to see a CNDSP auditor and a incident responder and support and analyst. CEH checks all those boxes. So
Right.
would I recommend a CEH? Depends on what kind of job you want. And if it's incident response, if it's an analyst, I know I had to have my CEH or a GCIA or a GCIH in order to get my first job in cybersecurity.
Okay. So he was laughing at our conversation, and then he comes back, no, why do you like it? If it's not practical. And then I think that answer kind of answered everything for you. What are clouds made of? Are you talking about the fluffy clouds in the sky?
Other people's computers and data centers. And did you know, well, we did an episode, I think it was on LinkedIn, but they're building data centers underground. They're putting data centers underwater now in capsules. It's unreal what they're doing with data centers. So it is really cool, guys. But yes, the cloud is a giant data center, and it's someone else's computer. So let's keep rocking and rolling. Let's come to some new other questions here shortly. Deal?
Yep. Sounds good.
So let's get into the data link layer. It's responsible for formatting the packet from the network or from the network layer into the proper format for transition, right? So as we're coming down that OSI layer, the proper format is determined by the hardware and the technology of the network. Now, Ethernet remains the common data link layer technology in use in modern networks. Once the frame is formatted, it's then sent to the physical layer for transmission. And that just makes sense, right? So coming right up, let's go ahead and talk about this real fast. So this is kind of what it looks like, right? When it's coming down the OSI model and you're getting to transmission. Here we go.
Yeah, I know. I see that. I see the next meme picture they have. That's pretty funny.
Oh, I wish it blew up bigger. Drat. But when you get down, you can see the data link layer. Dude with the beard, glazed over eyes. Then you get to the physical layer, and you've now become a manatee, right? And then it transmits as a thing of light, and then it's going to work its way back up that OSI model. So comments, concerns on this, Brandon?
No, it was just kind of funny.
Well, and then I love the part at the top where, hey, you have your presentation and your application layer, and this is what people actually see. But why are we teaching OSI models? Well, how much happens on OSI model that you can't see?
Right.
The iceberg.
I mean, look at it. It's the iceberg analogy, right? Session, transport, network, data link, and physical layer, right?
100%.
It's all below.
That's it. Now, Brandon, pop quiz. Which 3 layers apply to hardware?
Which 3? Physical, data, and network, isn't it?
Boom. You got it. And then you have TCP, and then you have software and applications above that. So very cool. Hope you guys liked my meme. This was my sad attempt at being funny once again, but I got Brandon to giggle, so mission accomplished.
Oh, it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. As long as you and I enjoy it, at least hopefully someone laughed.
That's right. That's right.
They might not be laughing with us, maybe at us, but that's okay too.
I'm cool with that. I'm totally cool with that. All right, but let's talk kind of data link in the attack. So it was cool because we had somebody who was trying to get into pen testing message me on LinkedIn, and I'm not going to call him out by name because I didn't ask if I could, but he said, well, hey, like, I really want to kind of jump into your streams, but how does this stuff kind of apply to pen testing? So that's why I started bringing in this like, what are the attacks that can be seen on each layer? I want to kind of relate this stuff back to those who are trying to get into pen testing or those who are getting into defensive measures. Like, how can we bring these CISSP concepts and make it applicable for you? So on the data link layer, we're talking about frames. This establishes, maintains, and decides how the transfer is accomplished over the physical layer, right? As we go down that OSI model. It's going to use the 802.3, 802.5, and its devices are NICs, switches, bridges, and web WAPs, access points. Cool. Mac. Sorry.
Did you lose it there for a second?
I did, because I was thinking music videos. I'm moving on. Okay. MAC flooding inundates. So the attack that could be used is MAC flooding, and this is going to inundate the network switch with data packets, right? And when a switch is inundated, well, guess what happens?
Yeah, there's many things that can
shut down. Packets. Yep. Yeah. So it disrupts the usual sender and the recipient flow of data blasting across all ports. And the many advances switch, like the switches, they've come a long way, right? But they can be configured to limit the number of MAC addresses that can be leaned on ports or learned on ports to end stations. This and allow discovered MAC addresses to be authenticated against an authentication authorization and accounting server and subsequently filtered out. So once again, defensive measure, offensive measure, right? If you're trying to MAC flood a switch, that's kind of how you would approach that at the data link layer.
So now we got a question here. It's actually related to this. Is address spoofing a DOS attack or a Smurf attack? I had a question on that with respect to layer 2 network access, network across a WAN.
Sorry, I got to read that again. Where are you?
Is address spoofing a DOS attack or Smurf attack? He had a question on that with respect to layer 2 network across a WAN.
It's going to be layer 3. So let's talk. I mean, now we're getting into ARP and spoofing, right? Well, he's spoofing MAC. So yeah, so that's, you're going to spoof your MAC. So then you can do ARP spoofing. That's going to be a layer 3 attack. And okay, so this is a great question, because let's talk about this protocol, right? If we're jumping into this, and he's skipping ahead a little bit, but so ARP
that is perfect. We can keep going. We can address that after.
This is perfect, because ARP is used to resolve IP addresses into MAC addresses. Let me repeat myself. ARP is used to resolve IP addresses into MAC addresses. This makes sure that a traffic segment is directed from its source system to its destination system using MAC addresses. Now, what I just said was, if MAC addresses are layer 2, but IP addresses are layer 3, what is the ARP protocol doing?
It's translating between the two, right?
It's crossing over both layers, so it doesn't actually fit into one. So let's talk about that real quick. And I wasn't quite prepared to pull this up yet, but I got all this content prepped, so let's just jump right into it, because he's literally hitting on a great point that.
But it's Vivek. He always jumps forward.
Okay, you're right. And you know what? We got to do some pre-work before we get there. So let's talk about some of the protocols used for it. And let's talk about MAC addresses first. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay. Vivek always skipping ahead, man. I'm telling you. All right. But let's go ahead and jump into this. So let's talk about a couple of the protocols that are happening on layer 2. You got SLIP, point-to-point protocol. You got ARP, which is, we talked about a little, layer 2 and layer 3, right? It doesn't really fit into either. You have L2F, which is layer 2 forwarding. You have layer 2 tunneling protocol, point-to-point tunneling protocol, and integrated services digital network. So let's go ahead and keep going, though. You will need to know these. You will need to know the difference between transport and tunneling, etc. That's something that we've dug into in the past, and we'll probably dig into again. We're not going to go into a lot of that on today's session, but let's keep trucking real quick, because
once we cover layer 3, we'll go back to this question, because more questions coming about MAC addressing in layer 2 and layer 3.
Absolutely. So let's talk MAC, because you have to know what MAC addressing is in order for it to, how it applies to ARP, right? And how you can then attack that protocol. But a MAC address is a media access control address, and it's got an OUI. And if you see that on your exam, OUI stands for Organizationally Unique Identifier. So you could take that section of your MAC address and go query it online, and you'll be able to tell exactly who made that device. You know when I run into this at home?
When?
So if you guys are building a lab and you guys have a IDS, IPS, or you're tracking the entities on your network, chances are one of them will not be labeled, and all you'll see is a MAC address. You'll be like, no. What you have to do is you want to take the OUI, you want to query it, and you can figure out what type of device that is. And then you'll be like, oh, that's my PS3, or oh, that's this device in my house that doesn't pre-populate a little icon to tell me what it is. And then you can label it accordingly. Now, the rest of it is a universally administered address, which is just an identifier for that piece of hardware. And you've heard the term MAC address before, right, Brandon?
Yeah. Oh, you got me access control. You got a lot of the acronyms, right? The MAC.
Right. But have you ever heard of an EUI 64?
No.
Really? It's okay. Neither had I. But what's crazy is MAC address is deprecated.
Okay.
It's deprecated. They don't want you to use MAC address anymore. And the crazy part is nobody's ever heard of what's coming next. And that is an EUI 64. Ready? Let me share it with you. So this is the difference. Check this out. So you have your MAC address, your 48-bit MAC address above, and below you have your EUI 64. And what's the difference? Well, they split those 24 bits in half, and in the middle, you can see something interesting there.
Okay.
You want to know what that's used for?
No. What's it used for?
I'd love to share that with you.
I hope you do.
Okay. It's actually used for IPv6.
Okay.
So hold on, let me pull it back up real quick. Here we go. So IPv6, so that EUI, as per on RFC 2373, it allows a host to assign itself a unique 64-bit IP version 6 interface identifier. This feature is a key benefit over IPv4 as it eliminates the need for manual configuration or DHCP.
Okay, so hold on. So from what I'm reading, that they're trying to eliminate DHCP.
You don't need it anymore. Isn't that amazing? So DHCP is the thing that assigns all of your devices right now on your IPv4 network an IP address.
Right.
But if you can build your EUI 64, it eliminates that need because it builds that and it can self-assign within that MAC address and eliminate DHCP once we migrate over to IPv6. I thought that was wicked awesome.
I actually like to know how that's done, right?
Well,
because I mean, you have to get a pool of IP addresses to assign, right? So how are they pulling that?
Why do you need an IP address if it's in your MAC address?
Well, wouldn't you have to have it? It's on your network, right? That you have.
It can self-assign.
So where is it pulling from?
It can self-assign.
I know, but how does it know what's on your network if you have your own kind of addressing it internal, right?
That is a good question. That is a good question. And I'm not quite sure how that works, but if somebody knows, will you please leave it in the chat? And I'm going to have Fraser grab that and we'll present it to the class. But I thought that was wicked cool. MAC is being deprecated. EUI 64 is the new thing, and it can remove the need for manual configurations of IPv4s and DHCP.
Wow.
Boom. That's half the pain in setting up a home network or setting up a corporate network, is just figuring out DHCP and making sure your subnets are ready to handle that and your DHCP servers are set up. So that's wild, and I thought that was really cool. So hopefully you guys like that. Hopefully you learned something new tonight. And what layer of the OSI model, Brandon, does that happen on?
Well, as you're talking that through, I'm sitting there going, "Oh my god!" I mean, that right now we're still at the data link layer, right?
Right.
But as you're talking through, I'm still kind of going, "Hold on, what's happening with DHCP?" That's pretty awesome. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I mean, look at the way it's going. I like to say, if someone knows in the community, how is that going to actually eliminate DHCP, and how someone going to be controlling the addressing in the actual network?
Yeah, so I think I want to say DHCP may still be used on the internal network.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean,
yeah, we'll have to do more research. So I apologize for not digging deeper into that for you guys. That's my fault. Now, did we have any questions?
Oh, we have lots of questions. So I'm going to start from the bottom up just to kind of just more relevant. Which layer does the VPN initiate at?
Does the VPN? That's a tunneling protocol, so that's going to be 3, I believe.
On network?
Let's double check that real quick. So OSI, layer, tunneling, boom, I got you. It's going to be layer 2.
Okay.
Literally. Yep. So because point-to-point protocol, duh, of course, right? So that's going to encapsulate that IP, everything from layer 3 into layer 2 as it sends it over to layer 1. That is, so tunneling happens at layer 2 of the OSI reference model.
Okay. And then why would MAC addresses be layer 2 if they are burnt in by the manufacturer?
That's a great question because it helps prevent collisions, right? So you got to think, if on layer 2 you have a lot of devices on the same physical link, you have to be able to identify one another to prevent those collisions, and MAC addresses is how it happens. And someday the EUI model will do that, right? So really cool. But yeah, so that's why. Hopefully I answered that question.
Yeah, then we had a comment here. WAP wouldn't be more of a layer 3 stuff, and then it's a question mark. So it's a kind of a question/comment.
Oh, the wireless access points.
Yeah.
So it's still a layer 2 device. Because and once again, the OSI, remember, the OSI model is not absolute, but that's the layer it's designed to function on, right?
And why is that?
Well, because it doesn't, all it's doing is it's receiving a signal and forwarding it on. It's not acting like a layer 3 switch or a router, which lives on the network or layer 3.
There you go.
So that's why it'd be on layer 2. So hopefully that answered that one. What else you got?
And then just going through here, some education questions. Do you know what a cloud? Here, we'll go this. Do you know what the cloud cert to get are?
What the good cloud certs to get?
Yeah, I mean, this is your space. You love this. Amazon.
AWS all day long. Go for cloud practitioner, go for architect. If you want to do security, go AWS security specialty. Guys, there is so much fire going on in the security industry. I almost recommend, I still tell people to go blue team first, because in blue team, you'll kind of get the hybrid environment and get cloud. Someday it will migrate, and my recommendation will be you go cloud first if you want to get into security. We're not there yet, but that is the trajectory. So that's what I recommend, AWS all the way. All right, what's up?
Did we cover IAR? Someone's just asking, I'm sorry, what does IAR stand for?
I don't think we covered IAR.
I know one of the acronyms. I'm just trying to look it up here.
I got nothing for IAR. Anybody else?
Ignore all rules.
Yeah, I don't know what IAR is. So yeah, so let's keep going though, guys, because I know it's 8:17 already. What is happening to our time? All right, we got a crunch time, guys.
Well, we'll get through layer 3.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, let's get through layer 3, and then we'll keep rocking and rolling. So we still got to talk ARP though.
Let's do that.
So let's talk ARP, and let's talk about let's kind of show you what ARP is, and then we'll show you kind of what those attacks look like for if you want to spoof ARP and kind of mess with it. So this is ARP, and what you're seeing is an ARP request. So what it's asking is who has 192.168.1.20, and it's going to send that through the switch. It's going to redirect it to that host, and then you're going to get an ARP reply, and you'll see there the MAC address is in the ARP reply from the host that has the IP address 192.168.1.20. That's the ARP protocol. And remember, the IP addresses, are going to be the MAC address is layer 2, IP address is level 3. ARP is kind of going in between both layers, so it doesn't really fit in well to either. So that's ARP. Now let's talk about its weakness. Let me exit out of this and find the next one for you. A lot of pictures. There it is. ARP. Hello.
You got a picture for that?
With an A. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. So let's talk about ARP spoofing. So what we're seeing here is we could say rogue device or just another device on the network. But the attacker's device, what it's going to do is it's going to send out ARP requests repeatedly to multiple devices, to the switch, to Bob, to Alice. And what it can do is say, hey, look, and let's pretend they don't do the switch right now. But the old way of sniffing a device, Brandon, is you would have to get on that device and turn it on to promiscuous mode so that you could see all the traffic coming in. All the traffic bypassing this device. Well, the switch kind of reduced that, right? Because now you get on a device and the switch is directing traffic for that device and only for that device.
Okay.
Doesn't really help you sniff the whole network, right? So what they're doing is the attacker is sending ARP requests, and eventually that device will update its ARP request. But what the attacker did was the ARP request, it's now it's now saying that instead of sending data to the switch, the MAC address it should send that to is the attacker. So what it's going to do is it's going to start forwarding that, and then you can intercept the connections across the switch. So that is fundamentally the weakness in the ARP protocol, is that you can ARP spoof.
Okay.
Cool. So a lot of people are like, okay, don't have to worry about sniffing, not a big deal. I'll throw a switch on my network. Now everybody's only going to get the communications to their device. Well, there's a way around it, and ARP spoofing is that way. So, all right, cool. So we talked ARP. Let's talk one last time on data link. Brandon, will you talk about the two sublayers real quick?
Yeah. So you got data link layer contains two sublayers: the logical link control (LLC) sublayer and the MAC sublayer. Details about these sublayers are not critical for the CISSP exam, but you should know them. All right. Network hardware devices that function at layer 2, the data link layer, are switches and bridges. Right.
So the cool part here is you can see that the LLC, and I'm turning my head sideways because the green text is very small, but it's 802.15 is Bluetooth. Right. So once again, Brandon, what is 802.15?
Bluetooth.
There you go. 802.11 is?
802.11, isn't that Wi-Fi?
You got it. So those are your two different sublayers of data link. Cool. So
if we're talking turning my head as well.
Yeah, I know, right? So let me ask you, why does an access point belong at layer 2?
All right. It's because the actual the connection, right?
It's at the MAC sublayer of the data link layer using Wi-Fi, 802.11. Right. Cool, right? And then on either side, you got network and physical. Awesome. 10-minute warning. All right, cool. I love it. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Let's talk real quick about, should we talk Smurf attacks? So we're on the network layer. So Brandon, will you jump us into the network layer real quick? I think we can get there.
You think so?
Or should we just answer some more questions and hang out?
We got 10 more minutes, so let's answer some questions. You guys have any questions that coming up? I'm going to go through what we have in the queue right now. One question was, when starting in the cybersecurity, cybersec, do you recommend going for a 4-year school, or would you rather recommend going through places like INE and other programs out there?
Is Neil watching right now?
Neil's listening right now. So I'm going to answer for that. So yes, we recommend going to INE. INE is it will help you with your cybersecurity career. It'll help you get a job. The team with INE is one of the best teams that give you the education with pen testing and your cybersecurity career. With that being said, depends on where you want to go in your career. And I think this is where Joel's going. If you want to go to senior management, things along that line, sometimes they're going to ask if you have a degree.
100%. And so I guess the only reason I hesitated, because like we talk about college degrees, and that typically happens kind of at the 18 to 25 range, right? And if you miss that window, well, now you got kids, you got to have an income, you got an apartment, you got a dog, right? You got a cat. I'm not hating on cat people, I'm just a dog guy. But if you're at that age, knock out your degree. Is that necessary? Are there people who can go to INE, get all the skills they need, and then get into the field? Absolutely. But like Brandon said, we just passed a guy up not too long ago for a VP role. He didn't have a degree, and he was literally excellent. We had 2 excellent candidates, degree or no degree, right? If you're asking me what's the best path for success, first of all, go get your INE subscription yesterday and get your degree.
Right. Now, again, and you got to look at this. If you have it for your job and you're in work right now, do it part-time, do it after hours, things like that. You don't have to rush through it. So depending on where if a lot of the people on the community and a lot of people that message us are trying to break into the cybersecurity career. Mm-hmm. Is a degree a best way to do that? Not necessarily if you're trying to get right in and you have timelines in the sense of the next 6 months or 1 year, you're trying to break in. If you're young and you're going to college and university, for sure. I mean, go for the degree. You got some time.
Pump your brakes.
No way.
WGU. I don't know if you guys know this or know my story, but it took me 10 years to get a bachelor's degree. 10 years, 8 or 9, I can't keep count, different colleges to get a bachelor's degree. So guys, if it takes somebody like me 10 years to get a bachelor's degree, you can do it. But then I went ahead and did my master's degree. I got a master's degree in 6 months. Finished every single course, wrote a thesis, 80 pages long, 6 months. Now, part of that is because I was going to in-person school, and now they have online programs where you can go as fast as you want. But I took a 2.5-year program, crunched it into 6 months. There's a school that I graduated from, WGU. If you're trying to get in the field and you want to do it fast, you can go as fast as you want in that field. And what they've done is they've aligned all their classes with cybersecurity certifications. So by the time you graduate, you have your CEH, your Sec Plus, your Net Plus, your CHFI, right? You got a bunch of certifications coming out of college. So there are options, guys. And there's options to go faster if you need it to go faster.
For sure. Next question. Do you know that 802 came to be because the WG of the IEE were working on the standard in 1980 in Feb. So 80 years and 2 for February.
Did you know that 802 came to be because the WG of the IEEE were working on the standards in 1980 in February?
So 80 years.
So 80 years and 2 for February. Cute, but not needed. That's actually really cool piece of trivia. I had no clue. So BDD WACT, thank you for sharing that. That's an awesome little snippet of knowledge. So if me and Brandon didn't teach you anything today, you learned something new from our audience. So thank you guys for participating. You guys literally rock. I'm trying not to look at the chat, but God, I want to be part of your conversation so bad. So I hope you guys are making friends and literally sharing knowledge in chat while we go throughout this. So.
Yeah, and then I think we got a question from Vivek again. I don't know if he's going too far ahead. Is it true that CISSP is like a master's degree in Europe and maybe even in the USA?
I'm going to say yes for one reason.
Okay.
It gets you through resume filters.
So is it like a master's degree?
Yeah, because if I see jobs that require masters, it gets you through the filter. I see jobs that require CISSPs, and I've even applied to a few in the past. I didn't make it through that filter.
Okay.
Right. So you have to realize, guys, in a world of computers and automation and artificial intelligence, what does artificial intelligence mean? Well, I have a restriction, and it automatically can parse your resume and tell if you have a master's or CISSP. And if you don't get through the filter. So in that regard, yeah, it's like a master's here in the US.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. In that context, for sure.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. I think that's it for the questions right now. I mean, we're coming up, got 3 more minutes. So guys, make sure you guys join the Discord channel if you're not already. I know Net Fraser will post that in the group. If you want to follow us on LinkedIn and connect with us, make sure you send us a message. You guys, the guys that have, thank you so much. One thing I asked for yesterday, and Neil was kind of going along with your Tuesday, is send me your 6-month goal. Right, what's your 6-month goal and going into the cybersecurity career so that we can help you. I think the one goal for all the streamers here on the Cyber and Security Network is to help you guys through your career, help you kind of achieve your certifications, your career goals, right, in the next 6 months to 1 year, and help you progress through your cybersecurity career. If it's even breaking into the industry or moving up in the industry.
Well, and one more question. If you are going to be sitting for your CISSP, please message me on LinkedIn. Get me the date of your exam. I'm putting it in my calendar. We're scheduling 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 sessions where Brandon and I are going to be quizzing you on the CISSP content and doing a 1-on-1, making sure you know what you need to know before you go walk into that room and before you go stand like a superhero. For how many seconds, Brandon?
Oh, you're 30 seconds, but hold on, 30 seconds and take like an actual picture. We need to see it. Right? You can't just say you did it
like a superhero. I don't know. Get a random stranger to take a picture. They'll have no idea what's going on, and
you could set the camera on the side there and just do one of these. Right? You can do that. I'm gonna do it. I got my exam on May 30th, 31st. I think it is. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put my camera on the phone.
You already
on my car.
You probably you would.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put it there. I'm gonna do the Superman pose. I'll actually film it. I'll actually give you guys a video, so it's a whole 30 seconds. Right? I'll do it.
Can we just get it in like a really busy place, please? That'd be great.
Oh, I'll do it in a mall. I'll do it with everyone. Just me sitting there, kind of, be like, "Oh my god, what's wrong with this guy?" All right, I'm going to my exam. I'm going to write my CISSP.
I cannot wait for that day.
Last comment. BDD WACT was saying, Brandon and Joel, you guys are awesome. Thanks for everything. Thanks for the ad, Brandon, on LinkedIn in the morning. Oh, you're quite welcome, guys. Make sure you add us. We're here to help you. And
build this community, man. That's what it's all about.
Exactly. And I don't think there's anyone on after us tonight, so it's just us. So it's just us. If you guys have any burning questions, we're gonna go a little bit over. Ask us your most burning question right now. Send in the chat in the community. We'll do a rapid fire for the next 10 minutes.
You want to go 10 more minutes? We got
10 more minutes.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. Any question you want, ask us anything. Ready, go. I'm ready to rock.
Rapid fire. Okay, so
one thing real quick. I want to say to the CISSP guys, thanks for hanging with us. I know that we pack a lot more into these than we used to on LinkedIn. We used to be really steady on our content. We do about 2 pages less content on these, but thank you guys. We are getting through the content. We will get you there. We still got a couple months left of content, but we're cranking through it, and we're proud of you guys for sticking with us. All right, Brandon, what do we got?
So we'll CCNA and press anyone in the cybersecurity field. I'm doing my computer science degree in university and trying to study CCNA in my spare time. I'm mainly interested in the cybersecurity though, but my networking friends recommend to do it. Thoughts?
I got this like test out CCNA Pro or routing and switching pro certifications. I've never used CCNA. I've never had to work with Cisco devices in my entire field. Now, let's ask the audience. Have you used, if you have a CCNA certification, have you used Cisco devices in a cybersecurity job? Very specific here. Throw your chat in here. Please answer this gentleman's question. I personally haven't. Have you, Brandon?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
All right. Next question. Is it worth getting the basic cert for all 3 cloud platforms? So Amazon, Azure.
So can I tell you what I would honestly do? I would say, well, what's your goal and what job are you going to get? Like for me, I use AWS and I'm in Kubernetes and I'm killing pods to make things work sometimes. So I'm in AWS. I'm going to go get AWS certified. If you're looking for a job and guys, honestly, if you're looking to get a job, go find a job that you would love. Like, go find your dream job. If you're scrolling through that job posting and it says, hey, you need to have Azure certifications, by all means, go get Azure. Like, if that's your target, do all things with the end in mind. So I hear, is CCNA good? Is Azure certifications good? What's your end goal? Where do you want to be in your life? Because guys, it's all about your journey. You got to enjoy it as you go, but you also just got to keep the end in mind.
Awesome.
Right? What do you got?
So for that, I agree with you.
Okay.
Reverse engineer it, right? Find the job, find what you want with the industry, find, the vertical that you want to work with. If they're using Amazon, because of something you have to know too, some of the verticals, right, that like if it's health, it's financial, a lot of them cross share what solutions they're using. So it might be common across that they're using these types of solutions. So they're using Amazon or they're using Azure, and it'll be across the platforms because their colleagues in different, IT, CTOs, CISOs are saying they're going to use it. And so they go across and share that knowledge amongst each other. So see which vertical you want to work in as well. So I just wanted to add that as well.
Spot on.
Right, so outside of the WGU, what are other good schools out there?
Where do you live? That's a great question. I'm sure there's a ton of 4-year universities. I recommend them. My brother went to CU Boulder. I took a couple classes at CU Boulder. Where haven't I taken classes at? But it was a great school, killer computer science program. They had a 5-year program, right? He didn't get to graduate with his friends, but after 5 years, he graduated with his master's and his bachelor's. I would look for a program like that if you're going to go to a traditional 4-year school. Don't just go for your 4 years. If you're going to spend the time, you're going to spend the money, you're going to do it right, go for the master's and try to squeeze it into as short a time as possible.
Makes sense.
And then also, while you're studying, apply for entry level and internship positions while you're in school. That's what my brother did. And so by the time he graduated, he had 3 years experience and a master's degree, and he got his first job outside of college making 6 figures.
Awesome. No, that's good. Good way to hack the system, right? And make sure that you're hireable after versus kind of looking for a job once you're done, right?
Exactly.
Next question. What's the best way to study for a professional certification without paying excessive amounts of dollars? I'm assuming exam guides, i.e. exam guides, study crams, virtual labs.
Yeah. So Brandon, how much did you spend studying for this besides your time?
Probably $29-$30 a month.
Did you, what tool did you use?
Safari Books Online, right?
Safari Books Online. Okay, so I get Safari Books Online through my organization. Excuse me. So I didn't pay for that. I actually didn't use it once. Well, that's not true. I used it every Tuesday, Thursday, right?
You did. You just unknowingly.
I just didn't know it. So spend money on a book. It's a great resource. Examtopics.com has a bank of over 3,000 questions for cybersecurity where you have the answers and great explanations. There's a CISSP exam app on mobile devices. Get that application. So Exam Topics has every single cybersecurity certification out there. I would definitely use that. I would use a platform like INE or Safari Books. And I don't think you're going to pay a ton. Now, there are things that are going to require virtual labs. Like if you're looking at OSCP, that's going to be an expensive one. But there's alternatives, right? Do Hack the Box a lot more, which is free. And then for 3 months, pivot over to their boxes, which are much more hardened and more difficult. So it is going to be more expensive, but it's going to be worth it, right? And that's one of the only ways you can learn how to pass for that exam is doing the grind. So
yeah, it's sweat equity, right? You got to get your hands there. You got to be hands on keyboard for that. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the best way to look at, certifications is studying for professional certifications, and then find out what's the best method of your studying. And I talked about this last night in my daily cyber is, are you auditory? Are you visual? Are you kinesthetic, right?
Mhm.
How do you learn? If you're, a kinesthetic, you have to feel touch. You got to get hands on keyboard. If you're someone that can read a book or listen to something, then go to audio programs, go to, something on a book that you can read fast. So understand how you learn as well. That's a key thing.
Absolutely. All right. Let's take one or two more and then we got to dip.
Two more. Okay. How does someone crossing over from signal transition to the cybersecurity field? How does someone crossing over from signal transition to the cybersecurity field? I think he's crossing over for another job. I'll take as that into the cybersecurity field.
From signal transition to the cybersecurity field. Reach out to us, Blanderson6. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. Let's talk more.
Okay, sounds good. In the past interview between Neil and David Bombo, Neil mentioned that the INE free certs. Do you think those are worth spending any time or is that time better invested in something that like Security Plus or just showing more hands-on total hack the boxes?
I love that question. You want to go first? Or you want me to?
I'm going to say this right from that. Depends on where you're going in your career, right? Depends. And let's talk about this. Reverse engineer the job that you want to get, right? Joel was just talking about this and I totally agree with. You got to look at the description of the job, right? If it's a SOC job, and we've talked about this over a couple episodes. If it's a SOC analyst job and they're looking for someone with a Security Plus with like 2 to 3 years, and so try to get the Security Plus to get you in the door, right? Because it just checks off the boxes for the gatekeepers. Now I want to be clear. I'm not saying the INE free certifications are not good, right? For value and learning and education, and you can do them in synergistic way that you're doing the Security Plus and doing that. But to get a job and to break in the industry, you got to look at what the gatekeepers are looking for.
And so let's talk about entry level, right? Free certs. I'm guessing if you're still going for Security Plus or you're talking about free certs or trying to get some total hacked boxes, you're probably trying to get into the industry. The free certs, you have to remember who's your gatekeeper and who's your competition. I've done a lot of resume reviews here in the cybersecurity industry, and you know what a lot of people do, and I probably did in the past too. You want to know what they do, Brandon? They list all the different tools they've ever touched on their resume. Here's the things I can do for you. I got Kali, Wireshark, I got Burp Suite, whatever tool they've touched, they list them all there. Well, I would pick the person if they interviewed the same and they're on an equal bar, and I got a list or I got a bunch of free certifications, I would pick that over listing stuff any day. So
okay,
so you got a Security Plus in that, or you got a Security Plus in a bunch of just tools that you say you've touched. Well, that proves it a little bit more.
It does, and I'm going to ask you this, Joel. If I did my resume and I showed you the projects I worked on using those tools, methodology, kind of how I'd use them, would that be better for you?
So I always ask the question, what does your home lab look like? And I give them all the ample opportunity in the world to tell me about the projects they do at home. Like, I want to know, what does your home network look like? And like, if you use Ubiquity, we're going to be friends. Like, but like, tell me what it looks like. Do you have ESXi server back there? Do Do you have an IPS IDS? What rules are you using? Do you have a Pi hole? Like, what are you using on your home network? Tell me about your projects. What excites you? So yeah, if you got a project that you're working on, or you've tied 5 Raspberry Pis together and are doing artificial intelligence, like, you better bring that up in an interview, right? We want to hear
about on a resume, not in the interview, but in the resume. If you saw that experience, and then we're talking about net new guy trying to break in the industry. Maybe he's got security plus, but he's also put, projects he's worked on.
Yeah. I mean,
hack the box by hacking a SQL server using this methodology.
100%. I don't know if I'd go that deep, but I would say, hey, here's how many boxes on Hack the Box. Like, if you're trying to get pen testing, absolutely put how many boxes you've gotten on there, right? So jump in. With that, Brandon, we are sitting at 8:40. Guys, I love this community. I want to thank Neil. I want to thank for just bringing us in here and connecting these people. I want to thank Fraser for moderating and just being an all-around rock star. If you haven't connected with them, connect with Neil, and please laugh at his chair dance meme. You guys need to see this thing. It's saved. I'm going to be using it all week long. So with that, Brandon, thank you for joining me, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, guys, just remember, keep studying. I was talking about this the other day. 20 minutes a day, every single day. Work towards your certification. Let us know what your goals are. We're here to help you out. And, keep coming up every Tuesday and Thursday.
With that, Superman 1, Superman 2, we're out, cutting into cybersecurity. We'll catch you guys next week on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everyone.